Digital twins have been on the industry radar for more than a decade, but the question has shifted. It's no longer what they can visualize, it's whether they can finally deliver real, repeatable business value. In this episode, Willow's Chief Product Officer, Rick Szcodronski, breaks down a mindset shift happening right now. Owners and operators expect their digital twins to make decisions, not just generate dashboards. They want speed to value, ROI measured in days, and tools that integrate into real operational workflows, not one off innovation projects. Rick explains why early deployments stalled, what today's leaders are doing differently, and how AI driven digital twins are evolving from visual layers into trusted decision making platforms that help teams move faster and scale with confidence. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Climate Gap Quick Cuts, a podcast for busy people building climate solutions. We spotlight founders, builders, operators, and investors doing the hard work behind real progress. I'm Ben, co-founder of Element 6. We connect climate tech companies with the people who make scale possible. Let's get into it.
Rick, welcome. It's great to have you on the episode. Can you share an intro to yourself and your background?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Ben. Really looking forward to the conversation today. Rick Szcodronski, I'm the Chief Product Officer at Willow. And, we're the one of the leaders in digital twin technology really for the last 8 to 10 years, which has helped us build upon that foundation to where we're at today as a robust platform, really leading the industry in operational AI, which we'll dive into hopefully today.
Yeah.
I've been in the smart building space my entire career. Started off on the design consulting side, helping customers think about how they wanted to put together their smart building, smart campus, smart portfolio strategies. And around 2017, 2018, made the leap into a product because I felt like there was a gap at the time in terms of scalable solutions that we could offer our amazing customers in the space.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for the context. I love to start with the big picture that we're going to run through. Digital twins have been on the industry radar for more than a decade now. And in your view, what's changed most in the way owners and operators think about them today?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that jumps out to me is I think owners and operators are expecting value from their digital twins. Maybe historically, it's sometimes been thought about as purely a data platform or a data layer that doesn't natively deliver that end use case or end value.
Yeah.
And another aspect is how they've evolved from potentially just being viewed as visualization tools, right? Willow made a big splash onto the scene in 2018 as the first vendor to offer that 3D viewing experience in a browser from wherever you're at in the world. And honestly, we've had to kind of work a bit on shedding that label as that being the digital twin. And I think owners and operators are understanding that better now of digital twin doesn't just mean data platform, but it also means it can deliver a broad range of use cases depending on what type of industry you're in. You've got different use cases, different needs. And the digital twin should be able to deliver those for you at scale.
Yeah. A lot has matured during that time. And when we sort of talk about maturity, what are the key signals that a digital twin is creating real business value, not just generating data or visuals as you've described?
Yeah, well, I mean, you kind of nailed it there, right? So the question that should be asked is it creating direct business value, or is it just a means to an end?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with an architecture where you've got your digital twin and you're maybe layering these different applications on top of it. But every time you've got a handoff vendor to vendor, given the complexity of buildings and systems and everything, right? Time just adds up and effort and resources and things can go wrong, right? It's really hard. And so, this thing has matured when it's speed to value, right? And can we start to realize not just the vision, but tangible savings, within days, not within years or months even. And so the visual aspect is still really important, I think. People like to see and they think in terms of visual layout.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as we've leaned a little bit more into this world of AI with our Copilot, we're finding that users are just making decisions differently these days. And it's not, let me fly around my 3D space or let me review some insights or faults. It's, the digital twin's smart enough to make the decision for me. Just tell me what the decision is, and I'll trust it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that that advent where people just want to move faster is happening, particularly with that type of application. So that's a progressive step from the early days.
Yeah.
And talking about that, some of the early projects or many early projects stalled. You'd hear the grapevine because they were probably treated off as one-off innovations rather than operational tools.
Yeah.
What do you think those experiences taught us as an industry about scaling adoption effectively?
Yeah. Well, no surprise, but the number one thing it taught us is you got to have that champion, not just involved during the initial sales process and maybe kickoff, but really all the way through regular touch points. Where are the stumbling blocks? How can we collectively get through those and drive change management in their org? One of the things with digital twins is it's a new product category. Any type of software that we're layering into the industry is a new product category. And so having users change the way that they start their day and end their day is not easy, right? We're used to status quo. So oftentimes it takes that champion to be there and reimagine that for themselves as they're adopting this technology. Maybe it takes a new hire on their side to really push that forward. Maybe it takes a creative service offering to say, hey, we don't have the expertise in-house to get the most out of this really powerful technology. How should we look at partnering better to get the most out of it? And that's for those types of progressive kind of orgs that have that person or that champion in place. It's just been night and day in terms of how successful they've been. Yeah.
Yeah. What's been the sort of feedback for the orgs that you've observed that perhaps haven't had the resources to get somebody in that position, or just haven't had that forward-thinking view? What's holding them back, do you think?
Yeah, good question. One of the things that holds them back is a little bit on just timing, different budget cycles and things like that. Making an ask for a new hire isn't always easy. Is it going to come from your operating budget? Is it going to come from here or there? So we do find though that the customers who think that they need to go at this themselves also struggle. I mean, one of the beautiful things about our industry here is people love to just share, even if you're fierce competitors on your business side. We always recommend picking up the phone and calling another org to see, like, how did you solve for this? Or
Right.
we're,
Yeah.
we're really struggling with figuring out how to adopt this. Like, we're getting the vision from Willow and the digital twin. How do we sort of supercharge this? And we love getting those kind of creative juices flowing from different people who have had success and maybe not success.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a sensible approach. And thinking about the next question I wanted to pose, there's often this tension between, as you described, the perfect model and then the actual useful one. How should teams today, do you think about balancing technical accuracy with usability and ultimately ROI?
Yeah. I like this question because no matter where, how far we've come, and we've come a long way in terms of becoming more scalable and getting to ROI faster. There's always hurdles and roadblocks at the beginning, in the middle, and towards the end of deployment. And I do think it's a balance, right? And so, one of the things that comes to mind is trust and transparency on both sides.
Yeah.
And so the sooner you can get to that with the vendor, like ourselves, Willow side, as well as the org, I think the better chance you have for thinking about how to strike that balance, right? The vendor should always be accountable for delivering ROI and being transparent with the timeline for which they'll get there.
Yeah.
And similarly, the vendor kind of needs to understand, they want this thing to sort of be plug and play, and we know that it's often not in terms of how you can get connected to these systems, and are there limitations on the southbound communication side at the edge or whatever that might be. And I just think trust and transparency helps both sides of the fence to strike that balance, knowing that both sides do want scale. I mean, doing it with a small POC or a pilot is great. Like, it kind of proves out the vision and the ROI, but both sides don't really benefit unless you get to scale.
Yeah.
Which is super helpful to think about.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to frame that sort of tension that does exist with some practical steps.
Yeah.
The next sort of thing that I was thinking about was, as data from all these systems flows in, how do leaders ensure their digital twin evolves into a true decision-making platform, whether that's with the advent of AI, rather than another complex dashboard that nobody wants?
Yeah. Well, I think kind of coming back to one of the previous question there, right, is those leaders really need to make sure that the decision makers are aware of and contributing to the decisions that they're trying to make, and challenging the digital twin to be able to perform those for them. And so they should absolutely be, where we're at as a company, and where we should go. And why I like this question is, the digital twin should be serving up the decisions and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Right? Dashboards were great and they served a purpose for a while, and they still are flashy and glitzy, but they don't necessarily often offer up the actual answer. And more people are needing quick, concise, without even need to interpret charts and graphs and all that. They need the kind of the decision spelled out for them, because they've got so much cognitive load and responsibility happening. It's easier to just have that served up from their digital twin.
Yeah.
And like you said, with all those additional data sources coming in, I mean, we've got such a broad variety at Willow that we're pulling in. We often like to focus on the BMS, right? But there's occupancy, people counting, leak detection, leases, you name it, all kind of flowing in. Real-time energy pricing data, all of this is coming in, and it's just too much to try to create a dashboard for this and a dashboard for that. And so the extent to which we can offer up, like our Copilot AI interface, to be able to serve up those decisions for you, the better we'll be.
Right. I was wondering about looking ahead, and what's the next step in this evolution. I know you've just touched on stuff, but do you see digital twins becoming part of a larger enterprise workflow, within the org, or even a shared ecosystem across portfolios?
Yeah. The shared ecosystem across portfolios is probably a bit of a stretch, at least at this time, but certainly the larger enterprise workflow, I think a lot of the larger enterprises have been wanting to do that for years and years. It's just been astronomically kind of impossible, right? They have to get, either hire consultants for 7 figures to go sort this thing out. And even then it's fragile, right? Because the moment you figure it out, something changes, and then keeping things in sync is nearly impossible. But certainly where we're at, like I just kind of alluded to, a lot of our customers, we're on the operational side. They're looking to get more of those unique data sets into Willow. And so, enterprise workflow, obviously we're connected into things like the work order management system, but that system also keeps track of things like warranties, right? And so beyond just the day-to-day break-fix activities, how can we use this for capital planning decisions, a newer way to consider how you do your facility condition assessments. A lot of orgs still pay a lot of money every couple of years to have someone come out and assess, walk the site and assess it.
Yeah.
We're connected into all the equipment and kind of know the health of the equipment live. And so similar to how we've revolutionized the concept of continuous commissioning, similarly on the condition index and whatnot. And I think just enterprise-wide, having those connections is great. And I do think that's where the revolution into things like MCP servers on the AI side from those various vendor systems
Yeah.
will kind of supercharge this idea and kind of hopefully cut through the complexity of needing to get every bit lined up and synced and organized, right, and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, you paint a very positive and rosy future, I think. When you consider the users of these systems and the multitude of benefits that they can offer. It's great that these systems will coexist in that sort of enterprise way. Well, thank you ever so much, Rick. That's a short, sharp insights, but really good view into a space that has matured, but is also a very integral part to the future of the smart building space. So, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you inviting me. Really enjoyed our conversations leading up to today as well. I'm sure we could go on forever. But yeah, as you kind of heard me mention, this has been a meaningful journey for well over a decade. And I'm as encouraged as ever as us continuing to make progress in the space and kind of getting to where we need to go as an industry. It's an exciting year ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's a safe space with people like you at the helm. So, yeah, once again,
Appreciate it.
thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Ben.
A few sharp takeaways from Rick's perspective. One, speed to value is the new maturity test. A modern digital twin should show tangible savings within days, not years. If it's still just a data layer or a 3D model, it's not delivering its potential. Second, champions determine success. Deployments scale when an internal owner drives adoption, change management, and cross-team alignment. When that role is missing, progress stalls regardless of the tech. 3, trust and transparency matter more than perfect accuracy. Vendors and owners both win when they're clear about ROI, limitations, timelines, and what good enough to scale looks like. Perfection slows progress, alignment accelerates it. 4, AI is shifting the role of a digital twin. Dashboards are out, decision engines are in. Leaders want the platform to serve up the answer, not create another layer of interpretation or cognitive load for teams already stretched thin. And finally, 5, enterprise workflows are the future. Digital twins are moving beyond visualization into capital planning, warranty insights, condition indexing, and continuous commissioning, tightly integrated into broader enterprise systems, not isolated pilots. Thanks for watching Quick Cuts. Short episodes, sharp insights, no filter. Catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Climate Gap Quick Cuts. If you're building in climate tech, subscribe to hear more from the people making it happen.